I broke up with my boyfriend and now I'm feeling overwhelming anxiety. He's already reaching out to my family and threatening to tell people I'm mentally ill. What should I expect after breaking up with a narcissist, and how can I protect myself from whatever he might do next?
So there are a lot of questions in that question. And I think it is always very nerve-wracking and anxiety producing to break up with a narcissist because they spend most of their attention keeping us kind of off kilter to where they want us to be a little unsure of what they're going to do next. But the thing to remember is that all narcissists play from the same playbook. Once you kind of know what that playbook has in it, you can be better armed to know what to expect. So it's kind of like once you know what goes in a recipe for making a cake, you can, cakes all have their own different flavor, but you can recognize what a cake looks like once you know what a cake is. Narcissists are the same. They all have their own kind of flavor, but once you know what a narcissist playbook looks like, you can recognize and to some large degree anticipate what they're going to do. So narcissists are all about power and control, and they want what they want. So after breaking up with a narcissist, if the narcissist is wanting to hurt you, that's where they're going to focus most of their energy, where they want power and control. Are they trying to hurt you? Or are they trying to get you back? If they're trying to get you back, you're probably going to see things like hoovering, right? Which is them trying to suck you back in, future faking, making promises they never intend to keep just to get you to give them one more chance. If they're trying to go to your family and friends, like, in this example, that's the smear campaign that they all like to use. They want to get as much power and control for themselves and get as many people on their side. We call these people flying monkeys, as many people on their side as they can, because that makes them feel like they have power and control in the situation. So if you expect that, as in this question, my suggestion would be go to the people that you think the narcissist is going to reach out to and educate those people as to what you think the narcissist is going to do. And sometimes you have to play, the best defense is a good offense kind of approach. And make sure that, if you think the narcissist is going to go to someone that you really care about and you care about what they think of you, and you don't want the narcissist to take advantage of them and draw them in as another flying monkey, go to them proactively and say, hey, this is probably going to happen. This is what the narcissist is going to do. If it's not somebody that you care about, that's where it gets a little tricky, because we have to recognize within ourselves that trying to get ahead of the narcissist and get everybody to get on our side isn't really all worth all that energy. If it's someone you don't care about, let them think what they think. There's a book that actually Mel Robbins just came out with recently that's called The Let Them Theory. Let them believe the narcissist. Know that you know your own truth and let them have to figure it out for themselves.
Thank you. That made me think that last part, what you just said, that that's often one of the hardest parts when there is a smear campaign is the temptation to defend yourself. Like, especially, or like, for example, with people who you might not know that much, or maybe the smear campaigning is already ongoing and they might have talked, you know, reached out already to the people you also, care about and care what they think about you. So if that smear campaign is already active, so you can't anymore be proactive in this situation, and someone is spreading lies about you, and you have this natural urge to correct the record. Uh, do you think it often backfires in a situation where the spread campaign is already ongoing, so you can't anymore be proactive? Do you think also in that situation, when we talk about people who you care about, you should try to reach out and explain and defend yourself? And yeah, can you comment on that?
Yes, so that is a very good question. I think it definitely can go to where it works against you, because depending on what the smear campaign is saying about you, if it's with someone who doesn't know you, and the narcissist is planting seeds that, in this example, you're crazy, or you are mentally ill, or whatever the case may be. If it's someone who doesn't know your true character and they're committed to believing the narcissist, there's nothing you can do, honestly, to get them to come over to your side, generally speaking. But the people who know your character and remind yourself that the people who know you and who you truly are want to support you. And if they know you and you go and have a conversation with them, even after the smear campaign has begun, there's value in that because it's somebody who knows you, that values you, and you value in your life. If, however, it's somebody who doesn't know you, if it's somebody who is so committed to the narcissist that they're committed to not understanding you, you're really wasting your time and energy because there's not going to be a lot of reward coming from that. I always tell my clients that if someone is committed to misunderstanding you, there's nothing you can do to change their mind. So if it's someone who knows your true character, absolutely. At any point, I believe you can go and have a conversation with them about the smear campaign and what's going on. If it's someone who doesn't know your true character and you don't really care ultimately to keep them in your life or what they think of you, it's really not going to be in your benefit in most cases to try to convince them to come to your side.
Great. Also, I want to go back in the beginning. You said that, once you kind of know what the cake looks like, you can recognize it, even though if there's like different flavors. And then if we like think that, okay, what would be the main ingredient when it comes to narcissists, like probably like power and control would be in the ingredients list, that's what they want and all that made me think that okay. And then another thing, you also mentioned that their behavior after breakup could be also like hoovering. So they try to get you back. They might, apologize, make these big grand gestures, future faking. You mentioned that. I have a question about that. So if we think about the narcissists are all about power and control, and so how does hoovering fit into that? Because first, what came to my mind was wouldn't like apologizing or making big gestures like kind of hurt their pride if they feel wounded or take everything as a personal attack, so the breakup as a personal attack as well? Or is it that they just don't see it as hurting their pride because the apology isn't even real and getting you back is what makes them feel powerful and in control? Or can you talk more about this?
Yes, and that's a great question because when narcissists know that good people want to see good actions from other people. We are so wired to want to believe the best in people. So when a narcissist does something that seems like a wonderful gesture, that seems like they've learned their lesson, that seems like they're so genuinely sorry, like they're down on the floor sobbing, saying, "Please forgive me." The good person, who is the survivor of the narcissist, wants so badly to believe, oh my gosh, what I'm seeing is genuine. To your point of, doesn't this kind of hurt the narcissist's pride to be that? The narcissist knows it's absolutely a manipulation. So, like you said, the narcissist doesn't believe what they're doing, right? It's really just a means to an end. I always say that with a narcissist, A plus B equals C. So, if the narcissist wants whatever C is, doesn't matter what A and B have to be, right? If the narcissist wants power and control and wants to get you back under their power and control, A and B could be sobbing, future faking, grandiose gestures, right? It doesn't matter because ultimately the narcissist is always about getting what they want. And again, another kind of cake recipe type thing. They're hoovering and they're trying to get you back isn't always going to necessarily look the same. It depends on how they feel they can best manipulate the given situation to get what they want.
Makes sense. Also, in our community, we've seen another pattern after the breakups where the narcissist moves on like almost instantly. So, and like the relationship never even mattered. For example, one person, they were in a 5-year relationship, and then out of nowhere, the narcissist kind of just broke up with them, blocked them everywhere, and just within a week was with someone new. And they didn't really give any like reason for this breakup either, just like, I don't want to be with you anymore, no discussion, nothing. So is this something you have seen before as well, and can you talk more about this?
Yes, and that the discard is so devastating because it leaves the victims of this behavior with so many questions and no closure and no access to get closure and so much confusion. And what happened? What did I do? What should I have done? You're right. Like we turn it internally and try to come up with did I do something wrong? What could I have done differently? But again, I'm going to go back to the A plus B equals C analogy, which is narcissists want what they want and they'll do whatever it takes. Doesn't matter if they have to crush the person they've been with to get, say that usually narcissists will discard for a few reasons. One is because they got everything they felt like they could get out of the relationship. And so the relationship no longer feeds their need for attention and, adoration, all of that. Another one could be because the person in the relationship with the narcissist has seen behind the mask and they know exactly who the narcissist really is. And the narcissist then is afraid that this person's going to blow their cover. And so they want to put as much distance between them and that risk as possible. So they discard, they block because they don't want that chance of being exposed to all of their other potential victims. So they discard. Sometimes narcissists just want something new. Narcissists get bored very easily. And if I always say, like, narcissists want the most reward for the least effort. So if a relationship is boring, they're not getting all the supply that they need, right? So they want to move on to something that fuels that. If it takes too much effort, if the other person in the relationship is, holding the narcissist to better standards than the narcissist wants to provide, the narcissist is going to think this is too much effort. And so then they'll discard then as well because they think it's too much.
Mm. And don't also, so we have been talking about different ways narcissists react, like after breakup, like what happens if you break up with them. And there are many different things that can happen. They might initiate the smear campaign, they might hoover you, gather flying monkeys, move on like nothing ever happened. So discard that you just talked about. Then can you talk more about when they might become really malicious, like after breakups? So I'm talking about things like stalking, threatening that you won't see our kids ever again. I'm gonna, pursue, like, get full custody of this, and I have all the evidence, and you will never see them. Can you talk more about the malicious aspects that might happen, after a breakup with a narcissist?
Yes, because that is so important. Because if a narcissist is not the one who wants the severing of the relationship, narcissists take everything as a personal attack. And they're very fragile. They have very fragile egos. And they take everything like I said, a personal attack. And so that's anger, right? That causes them to feel angry, and they generally want to punish the person who they feel has harmed them above anything else. So if they think it will punish the person who they feel has wronged them, they really don't have many boundaries. They will use the court system, right? There's post-separation abuse where they will use, if it's a marriage kind of thing with kids involved, they will use the court system to continue the abuse of the victim. They will make threats. They will, like you mentioned, go into possibly stalking, because once you recognize that the narcissist is all about power and control, that's when I would say, kind of like the cake analogy. Okay, knowing what you know about this person, and they want power and control, what is it? What flavors, what do they need in that recipe for themselves to feel like they have power and control? Is it keeping bullying you to make you think you're going to lose your kids? Is it bullying you to think you're going to lose the court case? Is it bullying you to feeling like you're physically not safe because they're threatening you? Is it any way that you feel like they're going to the people around you to hurt you? Because if the narcissist wants power and control, they know they can get that power and control by either threatening you or threatening those people or things that you care about, whether it's your animals, your children, your family, your career, your personal property. And so when a narcissist feels wronged, they absolutely will react to that. And their narcissism exists on a spectrum, just like any behavior or any personality. There's people who are extremely introverted, and then there's people who are kind of introverted, right? And there's people who are a little extroverted, and then people who are really extroverted. Narcissism is the same. With a narcissist, if they're more on the extreme end, and you do see things like stalking, threats, I always say safety first. Don't underreact to the threat of the narcissist. Take it very seriously, because their goal is to get a feeling of power and control back. And oftentimes that to them, they feel like power and control means hurting you.
Makes sense. In this question, there was also a part that asked, how can I protect myself from whatever, might happen next after you break up with a narcissist? So can we talk more about like what are some things that how people can protect themselves?
Yes. And I think that is really one of the best things that we can focus on because so much information about narcissism is really about identifying the narcissist so you can kind of see and understand their behavior. But I think where the real power comes from is when we recognize what we can do for ourselves because we're not going to change the narcissist, right? We want to be educated. We want to know what to look for and we want to be able to recognize these behaviors for what they are. And we want to be able to support and validate other victims and survivors. But that feels very passive a lot of times. So, what is an active approach to protecting yourself and healing and processing and recovering from abuse is recognizing what is in our control. And so, one of those things is educate yourself, recognize what the behaviors look like, what the warning signs are, what your options are. Also, set firm boundaries. Boundaries are not something we expect necessarily the narcissist to adhere to, but it's boundaries of ourselves and what we are choosing to allow ourselves to accept and not accept, and making sure that we hold ourselves to those boundaries. If we tell the narcissist, I am not responding to your texts ever again, hold yourself to that boundary. If you say, like, if you have to, a lot of people feel bad if they can't go no contact with the narcissist, but a lot of times people can't, like if they share children or if they, own a company together or whatever. If you can go low contact, right? And low contact doesn't mean just responding whenever the narcissist reaches out. Low contact means only responding when necessary, deciding when and where you want to respond. So if the narcissist, again, wants power and control, wants to disrupt your day, the narcissist is like, I know this is their birthday, so I'm going to light up their phone with texts all day just to ruin their birthday. Put the person on silent, put the narcissist on silent. If they're going to email you, send them to a different email folder that you only look at, on Wednesday afternoons at 4 o'clock. Put a different text tone to the narcissist so that every time a random text comes in, you don't automatically go into that fight or flight response because you think, oh my gosh, is it the narcissist? Give them a different text tone, silence them, block them, decide when and where you want to allow them, if you have to allow them to come into your conscious awareness. Get a support system. There, historically, most people don't have, and still really, unfortunately, even today, most people have no idea what true narcissistic abuse is. And it can be very lonely and isolating feeling when you don't have a support system. It can be very hard to find the words to describe the true torture of it to somebody who doesn't understand. But if you can find a support system that understands it, whether it's a support network of people who have experienced something similar, whether it's just family and friends who love you and understand that you've been through something, even if they've never experienced it themselves, but get that support system. Safety plan. If you think, I'm always about safety first, if you think that this narcissist is someone who is going to physically harm you and even emotionally harm you, get a safety plan, right? Whether that's making copies of all of your important documents, whether that's having a bank account that the narcissist doesn't know about, whether that's having a safe place to go if the narcissist shows up at your house, whether that's finding local resources where you can go and get help should the need come up. And then I would also say, like, stay grounded in reality. Don't get sucked into the narcissist chaos because that's what they want you to do. And they want you to stay stuck because that fuels them. Chaos is the narcissist's oxygen or gasoline. It's what keeps them able to keep going. And if they can't find chaos, they will create it. And they love to create chaos with people that they want to punish. So if you can, again, low contact, no contact, setting boundaries, those kinds of things, if you can put all of these things in place, you will be much less likely to be able to get sucked back into that chaos.